From accusations of backstage sabotage to a scandal that shattered his legacy, Hulk Hogan, once the face of professional wrestling, now the face of controversy. The Hulkster is undeniably one of the most recognizable figures in professional wrestling history.
You and I are fighting for the love of all those Hulkamaniacs.
His larger-than-life persona, iconic catchphrases, and heroic image helped shape the golden era of WWE. But behind the red and yellow tights lies a much darker story. Fans once cheered his name, but now many see him as a symbol of everything wrong with wrestling's backstage politics and public scandals. In this video, we'll dive into Hogan's fall from grace, exploring the accusations of egotism, the toxic rivalries he fueled, and the shocking scandals that forever tarnished his legacy. Buckle up, because this isn't the story of Hulkamania running wild. It's the story of why so many fans now boo the name Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's rise to fame is the stuff of legends. A skinny kid from Tampa with big dreams of becoming a wrestler to wrestling's biggest superstar, Terry Bollea transformed himself into a real-life superhero with his iconic handlebar mustache, bandana, and the famous 24-inch pythons. He wasn't just a wrestler, he was a phenomenon. Before you know it, Hulkamania is spreading like wildfire. Hulk's telling kids to say their prayers and eat their vitamins. He's ripping his shirt off in the ring. He's doing interviews where he's louder than life. And the fans, they're eating it up. But here's the thing. Behind all that flexing and posing, Terry Bollea is still calling the shots. He's building a brand. Every move, every catchphrase, every public appearance is carefully planned. Hulk Hogan isn't just a wrestler. He's a one-man marketing machine. Hold on to your bandanas, brothers and sisters, because Hulkamania is about to run even wilder. Ever wonder what happens when a wrestler becomes bigger than wrestling itself? Well, that's exactly what's going down with Hulk Hogan. Hulk's face is everywhere. You're eating your breakfast and bam, there he is on your cereal box. You turn on the TV and oh my God, he's in a movie. That's right, the Hulkster's taking on Hollywood in flicks like Rocky III and The Secret Agent Club. It's like he's escaped the ring and invaded every part of our lives. But here's the kicker. None of this is by accident. Hulk Hogan isn't just riding the wave of his popularity. He's steering the ship. Every flex, every catchphrase, every ripped shirt is part of a master plan. Hogan isn't just a wrestler. He's a walking, talking brand. And business is booming.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
The proof is in the numbers. Hogan's merchandise is flying off the shelves. Action figures, t-shirts, posters, you name it. If his name or face is on it, it's selling faster than he can tear through his next shirt. We're talking millions of dollars pouring in, cementing him as not just a wrestling icon, but a cultural phenomenon. But while the fans are going wild, not everyone backstage is sharing the love. Imagine working night after night, putting your body on the line, only for the spotlight and the big paydays to always shine on Hulk Hogan. For many wrestlers, it felt like they were playing supporting roles in the Hogan Show. And it's not just about ego. This is about careers and livelihoods. Hogan's domination meant fewer main event slots and smaller paychecks for others. While Hogan was enjoying his feast of fame and fortune, many wrestlers were left hungry for their share of the pie. Of course, Hogan had an ace up his sleeve, Vince McMahon. With the WWE boss in his corner, Hogan had the ultimate golden ticket, ensuring his place at the top of the mountain. Whether it meant keeping himself in the spotlight or pushing others aside, Hogan was willing to do whatever it took to stay number one. And sure, you could argue it's just smart business, but wrestling isn't a one-man show. It's a team effort, an ecosystem. Hogan's dominance didn't just elevate him, it tipped the balance of the entire sport. What was good for Hulk Hogan wasn't always good for wrestling, and that's where the cracks in his legacy began to show. You thought Hogan's dominance ended at the merchandise table? Think again. His real finishing move wasn't in the ring, it was in the boardroom. Hogan had something that gave him an edge no one else had: creative control.
Hulk thinks he's back at WrestleMania 3. That's all right.
That's right. The Hulkster didn't just win matches. He decided how the whole show went down. And trust me, the story always ended with Hulk Hogan standing tall. Picture this. You're the next big thing. The fans are chanting your name. and you're ready to grab that brass ring. Then suddenly, bam, your momentum vanishes. Why? Because Hulk Hogan's backstage pulling the strings. He's not just protecting his spot, he's making sure no one else even gets close. Hulk Hogan's first major nemesis, the Iron Sheik, made his hatred of Hogan abundantly clear, even taking shots at him on Twitter until his final days. A big part of this resentment stemmed from Hogan's creative control in both WWE and WCW. If Hogan didn't want to put someone over, it wasn't happening. His refusal to elevate others held back many rising stars and even damaged WCW by making the promotion too centered around him. Take Starrcade '97, WCW's biggest event, where Hogan faced Sting, which should have been a legendary match turned into a convoluted disaster because Hogan couldn't agree on a finish. The botched outcome made everyone involved look bad, tarnishing what could have been a defining moment for WCW. Another instance was at WrestleMania 9, for example. Bret Hart, the excellence of execution, had the crowd in the palm of his hand. It was supposed to be his moment. But in comes Hogan, swooping in like a backstage vulture. 1 minute Bret's the champ, the next, Hogan's holding the belt like it was preordained. No build-up, no story, just Hogan rewriting history to keep himself in the spotlight. And then there's the Ultimate Warrior. The guy was destined to be Hogan's successor, right? Wrong. Warrior's push went from full throttle to a screeching halt, and guess who was at the wheel? Hogan's backstage power turned Warrior's career into collateral damage, ensuring no one could truly outshine the Hulkster. Hogan's backstage tactics created a toxic divide. Wrestlers had to pick sides, align with Hogan or risk being left out. He wasn't seen as one of the boys, and legends like Bret Hart, The Undertaker, and Scott Steiner have openly criticized him. Scott Steiner called his methods manipulative, leaving the locker room fractured and tense. But no one despises Hogan more than Jesse Ventura. In the 80s, Ventura tried to unionize the wrestlers, aiming to protect their rights. Instead of supporting the idea, Hogan ran straight to Vince McMahon, effectively killing the union before it could even get off the ground. This betrayal cemented Hogan's reputation as someone who prioritized himself over the wrestling community. Backstage, Hogan's political moves kept everyone on edge, turning every moment into a high-stakes game. He was also infamous for going into business for himself, often changing match outcomes to keep himself in the spotlight. Hogan wasn't just the face of wrestling, he controlled the entire narrative. While it worked for him, it left a trail of broken careers and shattered opportunities. And this was just the beginning. Hogan is transforming wrestling, much like Steve Jobs revolutionized tech. He's not just body slamming opponents, he's slamming open revenue streams, from Hollywood roles to promoting his real American beer. But with success comes tension. Fans want more wrestling, less branding, while fellow wrestlers grow frustrated with his special treatment.
Somebody give Stone Cold Steve Austin a hell yeah!
Meanwhile, Vince McMahon is all smiles, as Hogan's success means big money for WWE. Hogan's rise redefines what it means to be a wrestling superstar. He's turned his muscles into millions, forever changing the game and proving that being a wrestler is as much about business as it is about the ring. Throughout the 1980s and into the early 90s, Hulk Hogan changed wrestling forever as the ultimate babyface. Hulkamania put WWE on the map and made the Hulkster a household name. When his gimmick got stale, he changed it up in WCW and became the ultimate heel as the leader of the NWO. Fans loved to boo Hollywood Hogan and his dastardly deeds, but times have changed. Hulk Hogan, the larger-than-life icon who told us to say our prayers and eat our vitamins, has a dark side that fans just can't ignore. Beyond the backstage politics and betrayal, there's a laundry list of controversies that have tarnished his legacy over the years. Let's start with the scandals. In the early 90s, Hogan was at the center of the WWE steroid controversy, casting a shadow over his squeaky clean superhero image. Fast forward to the 2000s, and Hogan, along with Eric Bischoff, took over TNA Wrestling. Fans hoped for something fresh and alternative to WWE. Instead, they got a boring old-timers club filled with Hogan and his pals from wrestling's past, pushing younger talent aside and driving fans away. And then there's his personal life. Hogan's special treatment of his daughter Brooke rubbed people the wrong way, especially as he shoehorned her into wrestling storylines. Meanwhile, his son Nick was involved in a devastating car crash that left his passenger permanently injured. Hogan's public handling of the situation didn't win him any sympathy either. But it all came crashing down in 2015. A leaked video exposed Hogan making racist comments, dropping the N-word multiple times and admitting, "I guess we're all a little racist." Hogan said one of his main concerns after his son almost killed someone in a car accident was that he and his family would be reincarnated into a black family as karma. WWE acted fast, cutting all ties with him and scrubbing his name from their Hall of Fame. Fans were left stunned, torn between their nostalgia for Hulkamania and the ugly truth about the man behind the mustache. If that wasn't enough, Hogan has developed a reputation as a chronic liar. And we're not talking small exaggerations. He's claimed to have been scouted for professional baseball, almost joined Metallica as their bassist, and was supposedly the original choice for the George Foreman grill. Oh, and he insists he wrestled Brock Lesnar after his UFC run, despite not even being in the WWE at the time. The sheer absurdity of his lies has turned him from a wrestling legend into a punchline. So where does this leave Hulk Hogan? For many fans, he's gone from being their childhood hero to the poster child for what not to do. His legacy, once shining as bright as his red and yellow gear, is now a tangled mess of controversy, ego, and mistrust. Hogan's story is no longer just about the glory of Hulkamania. It's a cautionary tale of how even the biggest stars can fall. And that's the reality of Hulk Hogan today. A man who once commanded arenas now struggles to find his place in a world that has moved on. The fans haven't just turned their backs on Hogan for his scandals. They've rejected what he represents. In an era where accountability matters, Hogan's actions have left a stain on his once legendary status. Even within the industry, his influence has waned. Modern wrestlers like John Cena, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes are carving out legacies built on skill, innovation, and respect for their peers. Hogan's brand of self-serving dominance feels like a relic from a bygone era, one that fans are increasingly eager to leave behind. Hogan still tries to cling to his legacy, appearing sporadically at WWE events, but the response is lukewarm at best. Fans no longer chant his name with the same enthusiasm. For them, the red and yellow doesn't symbolize inspiration, it's a reminder of how far the mighty can fall. Ultimately, Hulk Hogan's story serves as a stark reminder that being a legend in the ring doesn't excuse your actions outside of it. Wrestling has moved on, and so have the fans. Hulkamania may have once run wild, but now it's limping into obscurity, overshadowed by the controversies of the man behind the brand.